Thank you.
Thank you all.
David Close. Now, David, I keep asking you to turn yourself into a group so I can not be embarrassed by giving you 5 minutes.
I could become the Anglican parish of East Christchurch, if you like.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for letting me come again, and the cracked record will again play. A word about the uniform charge. I've circulated a little calculation on the impact of the uniform charge. You're putting it up by $34 this year. You didn't advertise the fact very much, but I did notice it in the plan. And whenever you put on a uniform charge, you're imposing costs for the on the ratepayers in the lowest value properties, and you're giving a bonanza to those at the top. And the current uniform charge gives an extra $1,434 in the accounts of a $5 million commercial property. So you need to recognise that whenever you increase the uniform charge, that's what you're doing. You're giving a bonanza to the properties, the owners of the properties, right at the top. It's regressive. $34 is not going to be world-changing, but I would be very alarmed if the council continues this trend of putting more on the uniform charge. You know, how are you going to fund the operating costs of the this rugby stadium you're proposing to build? 20 or 30 million a year will be the operating costs. You pretend to put that on the uniform charge? That's the danger of the trend. It's not the total amount at present, but it's the trend that worries me. On to housing. There's been a revolution in housing in New Zealand, a gradual revolution, but a revolution nonetheless. Glenn Livingston kindly gave me a copy of a presentation to the City Council by K. Saville Smith. It's a very good presentation. If you missed it, I urge you to have a good look at it. One of the key facts in that is that in 2001, 75% of 40 to 44-year-olds owned their own house. 75%. By 2013, that had fallen to 52%. Now, my guess is that by 2019, it's under 50%. Now, the other side of that is that it means that in 2001, only 25% of 40 to 44-year-olds rented. Now it must be over 50% rent their houses. Now, this is a social revolution. Those 44-year-olds in 2013 will now be getting up to, approaching 50. They'll soon be hitting retirement age, and that's going to be a huge crisis for the country. In the meantime, of course, the number of units which the council has declined in absolute terms, and it's climbed far more in proportionate terms. So I really think it's important for the council to see itself as part of a solution. It's not the council's fault that this crisis has developed in New Zealand. That's the fault of central governments over 30 years who have not invested in affordable housing, either by the way of 3% loans or very much in state rental housing. Instead of the money, 1.6 billion a year has gone into the accommodation supplement, which is, I think, a great pity. As far as the area which Vicky and I represented together for about 20 years, the Pegasus ward, 130 council units were demolished after the earthquakes, and I understand only 12 have been replaced. Now, in the old days, the Pegasus ward councils have been jumping up and down about this, because really the East has suffered a lot. I'm not one of those who say that the council has neglected the East, because the council has put millions into repairing sewers, thank goodness, and water and that sort of thing, and a fair bit more into repairing roads. So I don't go along with the people over the East who say the council has neglected us. The council has done that infrastructure. But when it comes to rental housing, really the council has dropped the ball. And as I say, 130 units demolished, only 12 replaced. So I very much hope that the council can start taking action. And the income-related rent supplement on which you have placed so much confidence is beginning to feed through into the Housing Development Fund, and I see that there's going to be a surplus this year projected a surplus of 12 million, and I can't see why that can't be spent, because it will be replenished constantly from that fund. So I do urge you not just to have a housing policy which is fine on the words, but is unresourced. I do urge you actually to put some money behind those policies. One of Close's laws is that to discover what the priorities of a council are, you don't look at what their policies are, you look at where they're putting their money, and I think that applies to housing.
Thank you. Just one thing. If you take the UAGC as it was...
Sorry, I can't quite hear.
If you take the Uniform Annual General Charge at 2004-5, it represented 9.4% of rates. When you take all the fixed rates and you add the Uniform Annual Charge as part of that, it comes to 9.5% in our proposal.
Yeah, I accept that it has not... it's still a relatively small proportion of the rates compared with the iniquitous system they have in places like Timaru or Waimakariri.
But it is staying within that frame. It's 9.4% in 2004-5. It's 9.5% today. So
I recognise things are not proportionately worse, but I just think that it's really, really important that people understand that when you put the uniform charge on, you're helping the people right at the very top far more than anybody else.
Yeah, but I wanted to make the proportion.
Fair enough.
Yes, that's fine.
Yes. Touche.
Okay. No, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.